I think that's a good place to start. Are we good? Live? Live, right? Or we're dead, or we've been dead, or we will be dead. Welcome to hell, once again. Welcome back. Hey there, Wombat. Yeah, I think it would be really cool. My family's been too far away for too long. Wombat, first one here. Just telling Wombat that my mother, who is visiting right now, Entropic Mom, is off talking with the neighbor, an Entropic neighbor, about maybe moving this way. She might. She's been retired a few years, so I've been encouraging her to move out this way. I don't get back east very much these days. Look at the detail on the face there. I know it's a still. The paint cracking on the skin. Not really the first one here, but hi anyway. You don't have to be the first one here to say hi. Hi, Kimberly, welcome. This game's quiet enough to hear the bees, isn't it? Let's continue. We've passed through illusions. We've passed through fire. Well, I heard it. Do you have your headphones in? We came to this tree where Senua had a vision of Dillian. And the voices, which I'm sure will return before too long, are driving us towards artifacts. We may, depending on the save, when the save took place. It's not something I did. We may yet have to approach the tree. We may hear this all again. In fact, that'd be better. Nice timing there, Manny. Howdy. Senua is decidedly not a typical video game glamour queen, and you're liking that? I hope everybody can appreciate that. Quite different. Already been through a lot. She's still limping? She's still limping, huh? I was getting tired after 5+ hours of this yesterday. We may need 6 hours. We may need 7. Huh? We may only take 4. I don't know how much is left or how long it will take, but I like being fresh, so I can take things in a little more. Tyler, welcome. The shrine quests in Zelda are getting to you. You'll get through them. You don't have to do that many if you don't enjoy them. Me too, Wombat. Me too. Funny you should say that. Kimber B. Much better than Kimber was. Approach the tree, or let's actually go down here first. I'm curious if we'll see anything down here. It's where we were supposed to head yesterday, but we may have to go back up to the tree first today. A reminder about atmospherics in this game. You want to get the most from it. Headphones. Highly recommended. And on top of that, because the game is so immersive, I don't want to ruin that by talking as much as I often do. I will try not to. I may not respond directly to things in chat if I don't feel comfortable speaking that response. I may type it out if I can. I may miss more things than I normally do, so I apologize in advance. But particularly when there are things going on, I'd like to be We'll be back to these. Where'd They called them artifacts? No, they said something. We'll be back. P. Jeggy. Hey, welcome. Across the rocks. She's a bit challenged by terrain. I know, but see, you're hurting. Don't you think it would have hurt less to go over the rocks than to walk an extra 40 paces?
Sigmund's sister trades shapes with a sorceress, and in disguise, she lies with her own brother. She gives birth to a son named Sinfjotli. After a time, she sends him to the forest to Sigmund. He tests the boy and finds him strong and fearless, and so they go to take their vengeance on King Siggeir. But luck is not on their side. They're captured, and Siggeir has them buried alive.
Wombat, I have a wasp's nest in my grill. Also, that I keep neglecting to deal with in the early hours. One of these days, I'm gonna send them here. We're circling the tree. We did this yesterday. Seems the game saved pretty close to the end of the stream. Headed there. I believe we're headed there. Need to cross the Golden Bridge. Don't think we've crossed the Golden Bridge yet. We had a vision of Dillion sword fighting here. I walked by the tree entrance and did. So we see same thing we saw yesterday. After that is when we stopped. Went to try to pull the sword.
Take it. A sword. Take it. Dillion left it for you. Take it. Take it. Take it.
Its name is Gramr. It was forged by the god of all Northmen, Odin, and gifted to Sigmund, a great warrior.
I need this sword. It's important. Can you help me?
The sword appears whole, but it is an illusion. It shattered into shards long ago. It is said a great warrior can reforge Gramr by answering the trials of Odin, one for each shard. The roots of the Tree of Death will take you to new lands, where you will face the trials.
Go to the shards. Go to the
Shards.
shard.
Go to the shards.
What's the shard? Find it.
It's the metal runestones.
It's in front of you. Find it. The metal. The runes.
You need that sword.
Go to the shard.
Find the shards.
I couldn't recall. I choose you.
Where is it?
Find it. There it is.
Focus.
There's the shard. Focus. Focus. Use your eyes. Look. It's not safe. Don't go near it. Move closer. Go. Come on.
A king in the north forced the dwarves to make a sword that would never fail and never rust, and that would slice through iron and stone and bring victory to its bearer. But the angry dwarves cursed it. It would be the death of a man every time it was drawn, and it would be the death of the king. Let me tell you about the sword Tyrving.
I don't recognize this place. Where are we? Where is she?
It feels wrong. Where are we now?
Where are we now?
Burial mound. So strange that we go to such lengths to bury death. Something so very ordinary, inevitable. It's as if we conspire to hide death, because we have no answer for it. But when it comes and forces itself onto our friends or loved ones, then comes the reckoning.
Feel the dead in the air. You can feel the dead. Why would he do this? Turn back. Why would he bring her here? It's not safe here. Why would he do something so dangerous? Dale would never do it. He would never risk her life. He cares about her too much. He loves her. He does. It's not Dale, it's a trick. He loves her. Don't go in there. Go in. You have to go in. Take the torch. It's too dark. Take it.
Take it.
This will help you. Careful. You have to be able to see.
Oh boy.
Who's there?
And wave the torch.
Dillian, I'm here. I'm here for the trials. Like when we first met, remember?
Well, they nailed the torchlight. It barely lights up 4 or 5 foot radius. What leaks out into the rest of the room is hardly enough to see by. Voice coming from this way. Looks like a brazier, maybe? Something you could light.
He's gone. Where's he gone? Where's he gone? How did you let him go again?
Oh, I didn't see him.
Leave. He disappeared again. How could you?
Well, I didn't see him.
To find him. This is your mission. Find
Stop.
him. To use
Stop.
him. You have
I didn't
to
see him.
Get him back. He was just there. How could you lose him? How could he is? There he is. Dillian. There he is.
See him again?
Found him.
You?
What's wrong? What
You see
happened?
him, I don't.
Can you hear me? Just wait there. I'll find you.
Hey, Rango.
What's happened to him?
How are you doing? So we got a glimpse of him. And the voices in our head caught another glimpse of him. Get through there, let's... Are you excited or nervous, Rango?
I'll find him.
Sure it'll go well. You just won't know what to expect until it happens.
Did you hear that? Nothing. Was that voices?
Going the wrong way.
Dillian.
Dillian's calling to you. Don't touch the
Where is it?
walls.
You don't know what they might do.
Turn back.
Touch the
Keep going.
walls?
It's not safe here.
Did you say don't touch the walls?
Keep going.
If you go down there, no one can save you.
It's too scary.
Well, I just lit this one. Okay. These doors are more than they appear. Notice the shield with the yellow stripe? Not quite sure what I'm seeing yet, but the shield with the yellow stripe, the wooden shield down here, next to the torch and the pottery. Shield with the yellow stripe. Bare wooden shield, pottery. When I lit this torch, that appeared because that is this. I'm looking into the... I don't see myself standing there. I'm looking into this room. I don't think we can extinguish the torch, can we? Or what that means yet. This room is connected to itself. The first thing that comes to mind is Ethan Carter.
I can hear him.
Senua, you remind me of a story that the Northmen tell about a young woman warrior. Her name is Herver, the daughter of a berserker born after he was killed. She's a wild, willful child who teaches herself to fight with weapons. When she learns where her father is buried, her only desire is to reclaim the treasure buried with him, but above all, the sword, Tyrving.
Tyler, it sounds like something may have failed inside the splitter, even if it still functions. Something electrical may be very unhealthy, like it's going on there.
The voice is getting louder. Listen.
Dillian. Listen, listen, listen. It's him. Listen.
It's getting louder.
There he is.
You're getting closer.
Keep going.
Senua, follow the voice.
You're nearly there.
Dillian's voice.
It's him. He's going to save you.
Find the voice.
Find him.
In case it comes up again, this one had two V's, bare wooden shield, to a chair, sack, and a chest.
told you it was a trick.
It's not him. Then what is it? Yeah, gee, I'm trying not to speak over the game's audioscape. Headphones are recommended for this one. Senua has voices in her head. She's in hell. To achieve the release of Dillion, her beloved. To get closer to that goal, have gotten stranger and more difficult to understand, as well as to survive.
That voice doesn't sound like Dillian anymore.
What's happening? It's not him, it can't be.
Quiet. He wants me to find him. I'm lost without him.
It sounds like something dangerous.
Something is here.
Something evil. What's in there? What's in there? What is it?
A secret room.
Buzz. How do you get in there? How does she get in there?
Maybe you can.
There's no way in.
Find a way.
There has to be a way.
Find a way.
There's always a way.
Don't stop now. Don't give up now. Find a way.
You're too close to stop. What's in there?
That voice. It's not Dillian.
We see through the bars. There's a stone. There's some lore in there. But all I see is the torch and the stone. Can't make out entrance. It's a little foggy in the corner, but can't make out anything through the bars that would suggest an entrance. If we can get to it now, from somewhere right near here, I don't see it. Maybe we can get to it soon. Maybe we can get to it from back there somewhere. Go forward. Go back. I don't see a way to simply enter the room. Runes. Cheat the mushrooms again. Everything's very, very wavy in here. Hi, Rex. Does not simply walk into the room. No, I imagine not. That first torch, which had an adjacent room that appeared to be the same room, I want to go back there and go through that because I've wandered off. I wouldn't know the first thing about how to retrace my steps. Listening for a voice that isn't Dillian now. Acknowledged that it is not Dillian. A red glow up ahead. That doesn't look... that looks very hot.
Dillian wants me to face my fears.
But Maybe it's not fire. Let's see.
Father? I'm leaving. I've decided. I think it will be good for me.
It's the darkness. It's speaking through
No,
you.
Dad, it's me. I think I can beat it. In my own way.
I can see the darkness in your eyes, child.
I met a boy.
Boy.
The chieftain's son.
No.
He said he could help me.
It's a trick.
He said I could be normal.
Normal.
Yes.
No boy is going to save you. No one can. When they see the rot growing inside you,
No!
they will turn their back on you. The gods can only fix you through my hand. You're going nowhere.
No.
You will not defy the gods. Come, child, take my hand. Come. Senua.
I am leaving!
You cannot escape the darkness. Your curse will make everyone suffer. You will have blood on your hands!
What if this is pointless? What if you're wrong? To do with the sword?
It ended up being very personal to her, but didn't it begin talking about a dwarven forged sword?
It's just a trick. It's just a point.
Just thinking out
You've
loud.
been fooled before, you could be fooled again. You're being tested. You don't know. It's just their game for you. You never know which way it's going to go.
Bro, Terry, thank you for the follow. Welcome. There's Shard. Go all the way back around. I think we do. Powerful but cursed sword. We already? I missed that. Coming around today. I may have listened to it yesterday.
As Sigmund and Sinfjotli are being buried alive, Sigmund's sister throws an armful of straw into the grave mound. Hidden in the straw is Sigmund's sword, the gift of Odin. They cut their way out of the grave mound and set fire to Siggeir's hall. The king burns to death. Sigmund calls to his sister to come out so that she may live and be honored. She does come out, but only to tell him the truth. That she had slept with him, her brother, to beget a strong avenger. I am not fit to live, she says, and walks back into the fire. Strike vengeance from your heart, Senua, as there is always a heavy price to pay.
Almost willing to look at the camera. I don't know if it's because of the stone. She's spent the game looking away from the camera. That, all of a sudden. Yep. Indeed. Helheim. I wish I was savvy enough to say. were, yeah, I don't know if it's... There's not a lot. It's not all over. So I haven't found it distracting, but one interesting thing that was brought up yesterday is that oh, there she goes. She does not look at the camera generally, so that was interesting that she did for a while. This model is one of the game developers who was used as a stand-in early in development, and they decided to hire her as the character model proper for the game. I think she has quite an interesting face. Of course, any character even based on a real person is a bit different from that person. But it's hard to take my eyes off her. Some of the subtle lip movements are actually quite compelling to watch her react to things. But that's different from lip syncing. And she's speaking.
I saw once a plague strike northern lands of ice. It was so terrible that not the oldest man among us could remember the like. Hundreds died. The sickness took nearly every person younger than 40 and many older. And where dying mothers gave birth, the marks of the plague were on the babes as they came out of the womb.
She's standing there looking at her reflection in the stone.
Where are we? I don't like it. This place
She
feels...
turns to step
What is
away
this
from
place?
it.
This place feels... It's... creepy.
Changed.
It feels wrong.
I believe so.
Where is it? Where are we? Turn back. This is wrong. This has to be wrong. This place stinks. It's disgusting.
Run it. You don't need to run.
It smells like
Oh,
death.
she's not limping right now. So.
I can't breathe. Can you smell the death? It's...
Don't want to smell the death.
Turn back. There he is. There he is.
The light.
Go towards it.
He's in the house.
Find
He's going in.
He's disappearing.
Follow him.
Don't let him disappear.
The air
Where's it
smells.
gone? Keep going.
How do you find it? It's just a trial.
It's just another test.
You just have to solve it, and then you will find him.
Then you will succeed.
He's so close.
Just one little test to do.
It's a test. Like the old warrior trials. Dillian will help me.
First task. Let's get out of this swamp.
The stench of rot. She can almost taste it. Do you smell it? No. Don't worry. Not everyone can. It was a warm spring day when she went to the river with Dillian and the others. But the water. She could taste the rot. But no one else could. She knew something was wrong. Something sinister. She begged them to leave, but they just laughed at her. But soon enough, as the bodies piled up, no one was laughing. And they knew that she was not like that.
Another shimmering bit of illusion. Maybe something that needs to be restored.
The arch.
That's like
Look through the arch.
Is it
the
again?
things we've seen before.
Illusion.
It's magic. Just another trick. Another trick to play on you. Keep going.
The water is foul.
It's thick.
The air is foul.
Ooh. All right, take a close look at that, Chi, if you didn't catch it already.
bridge. It's broken. Fix it. You have to fix it. How are you going to fix it? You can't get to the house until the bridge is fixed. You must. You have to get to the house. You have to find Dillian.
I was briefly a little concerned about what I would see when I turned around there.
Now you have to find him. Quick, get to the house. Get to the house and finish this
I
job.
haven't
It doesn't
fixed
finish
the
until you
bridge.
get to the house. Before he disappears, Senua. You have to get in.
Pressure me. Well, a lot of the voices don't have subtitles. I have subtitles on. We're not hearing most of the voices. We're not seeing most of the voices. Only hearing them.
The Northmen speak of a death moon, a light shaped like a half moon that appears inside a house and goes around the walls. I once saw the death moon appear at a farm, and first the shepherd died, then a guest died, and then the farmhands, and then the farmer and 6 of his men drowned at sea. But that is not the end of it, because the dead return to haunt the living. If you see the death moon, then beware, because there will be death in that house.
That's interesting. Subtle. There aren't any boards in front of that door. At a glance, it's the...
That's it. You did it.
See.
She did it. It's not done yet.
Didn't do it yet.
Just a small piece of the puzzle.
We could get that ladder down. This function at all like one of the portals? Good does it do us to have that uncovered. Let's look at this again. A gate over there. Either way. Well, let's go back through it.
Way to climb the tower.
Did I? Oh, I didn't see, but look, with those stairs
You can
back,
see it.
along with the spikes are the stairs that go up to the ladder. So the path you take can change the path forward. Yes, but it's not a branching story mechanic so much as it is necessary. It's a puzzle mechanic for progression. I don't want to say too much, because if you have interest in playing it, struggling with it and then getting it is probably half the fun, but there are one-way portals that change the world around you that you need to use to solve environmental puzzles. In this case, for a glimpse of a bridge that is not broken into a million pieces, or to put that bridge back together.
She didn't.
You fixed the bridge.
Fixed it.
You passed the trial. Get to the house.
Done. You succeeded.
Ito Malak, welcome. Okay, to restore the bridge, we still need to backtrack, go across it. Senua is not much of a climber. If she were a climber, she wouldn't have so much trouble getting to some of the places she's trying to get to. It's not her thing, though. Oh. Just went a little bit Silent Hill again. Oh, of all the things, Wombat.
Senua! Come to me! Where are you?
Where are you?
I'm right here.
Are you in there? Come out if you are.
Where is he? Find him.
You have to find him.
The runes.
Focus.
Focus on the runes.
Focus the
Focus on
runes.
the sound. They're coming for me!
You're dying. It's too much.
Someone's calling you. Someone's calling you. Why are you here?
It's Dillian.
You can hear Dillian. It's Dillian. Go to him.
Dillian.
Go to him. He's trying to save you. There it is. It's close. It's close. Move away. Run!
Oh shit!
They've come again to find
I don't know, you're gonna have to. No, God! Oh, shh. There's no more running. +1, Manny. Vivi, thank you for the follow. Bad. Okay, towards it, there is a possible path. This might be the stupidest thing in the world. I'm going this way.
It's close. Move away. Someone move away. You'll die. What should I do?
Hey. No, not with the burning!
Two more.
Two more to find. Where are they, Senua? Where's Dillian? Where are you?
Run! Run now! Run! It's not safe here. Run!
Oh God. Oh, this is horrible. We're so dead. We're dead. She's dead. Dead by dawn. Dead by dawn.
You can't do that. It's Dillian. Find him. Where's Dillian?
Where are we?
It's not safe. I'm not safe. Where is it? I'm not safe.
You're dying.
You're lost. The light.
Go towards
Don't wanna
it.
die.
Focus. Focus.
Don't want to die.
We have to find one more. One more.
Done, Senua. Don't be lost.
Find the other symbol. You're lost.
with the burning. No burning. Where's the door? Oh God.
Look at you. Don't let it see you. It's coming. Move away. You're lost again.
Senua! Senua! What happened?
They're blaming me for the plague. They say that I'm cursed. What if they're right?
How would they know such a thing? Are they gods? None of us are. They're just people. Good people, but they're scared. They're afraid of what they can't see. Like children scared of the dark. They make up stories to fill the void. It doesn't make them true.
What if my father was right?
You have to step out of this darkness. Let them see who you really are, like I have. You're not a monster.
Without you, this darkness has made me a monster.
Killing you would be too easy. They're taking your memories to torture you. They're taking you from the inside. You're disappearing one memory at a time. Every time you remember, it disappears. They're going to take everything. They're not yours anymore. They're going to take everything you have. The memories of ghosts. They belong to the gods, not to you. They're eating you from the inside. They
That
want
one?
to kill your soul. They want to crush it.
That one which she gave herself.
They want your mind and they're going to take it. The memories were yours, but they're the gods now. Nothing is yours anymore. Dillian's disappearing with your memories.
Hello, Canadians. Welcome to hell.
I want to tell you a story about a god of the Northmen called Balder. The second son of Odin. He was beautiful, good and wise. He was fair of feature, he spoke fair words, he gave fair judgments. Light shone from him. Only good things were told of him. Yet he was the first of the gods to die.
Focus, out of focus thing is messing with my eyes. You mean the visual effect, or this where I zoom in? That's a focus that you can trigger. They call it focus. You mean a literal focus where things get blurry? I wasn't sure when I walked up to it, but it didn't look like that.
Face. What is it? What does it see? Get closer.
Oh, at the mirror. Yeah, there's a lot of soft lens effects.
Gods, the mask is here to watch you fail again. Where are
Oh, we're looking.
It's the same.
Oh. I focused without expectations,
It's lighter. It's nice.
but I'm not gonna focus again, but glance through from the backside of the mask.
Stay here.
Through the mask, we're able to see a different version
It's calm here. It's
of the world around us, and we must have just passed through that other mask, the view from that other mask. You can see the bridge, and there are stairs that were not there before. Rune on the door.
the bridge. It's not broken. It's fixed. What happened?
In this world,
Bridge
it's
is
fixed.
Let's cross it.
The Northmen tell this story about the death of Baldur. It begins with dark dreams. Night after night, Baldur dreams of his own death, and the gods fear for his life. So Baldur's mother makes everything in the world, fire, water, iron, stone, earth, wood, beasts, birds, serpents, poison, sickness, swear an oath not to harm her son. One by one, they each make their vow. Neither weapons nor wood will injure him, Baldur's mother boasts. Only Loki, father of Hela, the mistress of death, is not amused.
Dillion, isn't it? Don't forget. You can feel it. You need the runes to fight Dillion. You need Dillion. He's waiting for you. He always said he's close. He cares about you. You can feel he's close. He loves you. Calling you. Dillion. Dillion, we're here. Dillion. We're nearly here. Open the gate. She can't. Open the gate. It's locked. Try harder. She can't. The gate.
Try harder.
She can't. She will. She'll find a way. She will.
Always finds a way.
Is the secret?
Okay. Branches. Be in the distance, but it doesn't match.
Hidden secrets.
Makes sense if it was part of the bridge somehow. The bridge is such an important object for us. be here for a little while. Always makes great sense looking back on it. Seems unlikely, but not impossible that it would be something far away. Perhaps we even have to travel through the other mask to find what we're looking for. Let's go back to that mask. The voices are kicking in around here. That may not mean anything. We haven't seen any red floating runes. I'm trying to be open-minded about the possibility that there will be a time when those are not present. But I'm expecting them to be there too. There are dead trees where that healthy one is now. Well, go through and see. Raining. It was a dark and stormy night. And the stairs are gone, but we've opened up a shortcut on the other side. Hey, Crimson Fox. Yes, it's a good game. This is our second day with it. We're likely to finish it today. Although we're not very far into the stream. I'm hoping we have another 3 or 4 hours left.
The gate is open. Go through the gate.
Go through it.
It's dangerous.
Follow it.
What's behind the gate?
Where will it take you?
It's not safe.
Clear the gate. Back from the dead. Welcome back.
Just get strangled him.
I don't think so, Rex. Not quite.
Dillian.
There he is.
There he is.
What are you waiting for?
Quick, find a way.
Find him.
Go through.
He disappears.
Dillian,
Oh.
don't lose him.
Way too many times.
We saw him disappear.
Dillian, there he is.
Quick.
Is there a door we can use? Fine. Looking around too. Or we go through.
Where is he?
Where's he gone? Do you think?
We're in the wrong world.
He's not.
No, I don't want to be in the wrong world.
This world.
He's in the other one. He's in the other one. He's in the dark world.
The dark.
The dark one.
Good fortune, intuition, perhaps. Annie, I don't feel like I knew what I was doing, other than being aware of,
The world won't seem so
a
simple.
white light.
Black and white.
Anytime I caught a glimpse of it,
Darkness and light. Narrow dividing lines of our own making. Dillian taught her to see further. To peek through the cracks and see the worlds of color stretching away from the gloom. And Senua explored new paths into the unknown. Where's the way out?
welcome back, Brad. Oh, let's hear this first.
The gods feast and rejoice and amuse themselves by throwing spears and stones at Balder, striking at him with sword and axe. But he comes to no harm, whatever they do. The gods never cease to wonder at this great marvel. But Loki shapes himself into a woman and asks Baldur's mother, is it really true that all things promise to keep him safe? I did not ask the mistletoe, Baldur's mother confesses. I thought it was too young.
Dillion undoes the curse.
Oh dear.
To feel a love so strong.
Yeah. Dillion, her beloved. She's having these visions of Dillion, the white figure that you see. But that has not been present throughout the game. It's where we left off last night is when she first caught a glimpse. And we have been following it. It is something of a guiding mechanic.
Do you remember the smell of his neck?
Senua, you've got it.
Why isn't he here?
He's gone.
He's in the dark world.
He's gone to the dark world.
You're in the wrong world.
He's in the other world.
The dark world.
Without you.
You can't go up
You
there.
can't go up
Not
there.
in this world.
No, not in this world. You can't.
He saw who she could be.
He saw who she really was.
He saw the warrior within.
I thought that for a moment too, Manny.
He saved you when everyone else
Didn't
did.
get far enough to struggle for a way outside, but I know what you're talking about on the wall. They've gotten close a few times, Bloodwolf, a few times. How are you doing? Go back to the dark world.
Dillion didn't believe in the curse. Dillion believed in you. Your curse has claimed Dillion.
He didn't know. He was gone.
We can open the door from the front now. Camille, Jazzy, welcome. Thank you for the follow.
She should have listened to her heart.
Why didn't she listen to her?
She thought she could define your curse.
Why didn't she listen to her? She knew she could define it. You have no chance for love now.
Nobody will love you again.
Ever again. You can.
There he is. Where are you taking him?
He's up there.
How do you get up there?
There's a way. There is a way up there.
Find the way.
She can do it. You're nearly there. She can find the way.
For a game that can deliver such
You broke him. You killed
visceral
him.
combat,
Couldn't see the darkness within you.
really holds its own just as well. Or long stretches with absolutely none. Combat in this game is not a secondary experience, and yet it's also not.
Do you know? Was it worth it?
You're still alive and Dillion's dead. He doesn't deserve to be
It's not a
dead.
primary one either.
Feel.
Being in her head is the primary experience, whether it's out here or in battle.
Loki makes a dart out of mistletoe and goes to the gods as they throw things at Balder.
Everything gets broken in there.
The blind god,
With your
Hud,
love
was
because
there.
he believed in you.
Loki asks him why he wasn't taking part. Hud says, I cannot see where Baldur stands, and even if I could see him, I have no weapon. Loki replies, "Here is a wand. I will tell you where he stands." And Hud throws the mistletoe at Baldur. It pierces through him, and to everyone's horror, Baldur is killed. And for this, Hud is slain.
Yeah, does that sometimes.
He led you astray. You should have listened to your father when you had the chance. Why didn't you listen to him? This love has tortured you, and it tortures Dillian.
Even if you have headphones, highly recommended for this game. It'll be your first stop on Twitch in months.
She thought she had light within her when she has only known. She is pure darkness.
Glimpse of Dillian at the moment.
Look what happens to the things you love.
I apologize, I'm not trying not to speak over the game too much because the sound is so much of it.
The Northmen tell how the gods mourned Baldur. His body was to be burnt on his ship, but they could not manage to push it into the sea and sent for a giantess to do it. She comes riding a wolf and has vipers for her reins. She pushes Baldur's ship into the sea with such force that the ground shakes and the rollers burst into flames. When Baldur's wife sees his body carried onto the ship, her heart bursts with grief, and she dies. She's put next to her husband, and the pyre is lit, sending the dead to hell. But even so, the gods cannot accept his death.
You have blood on your hands. You are guilty. You will always be guilty. Was it worth
Will
it?
always be
Years
guilty.
had passed since she left her father. She trained hard alongside her friend, Dillian. She saw things no one else could. Patterns, shapes, movement. An intuition that made her an exceptional warrior.
The curse cannot.
Friendship turned to love. But the shadow of darkness never let her go, and she was caught between two worlds. That of Zinbel and her past, and Dillian, a future. Two realities tearing at her soul.
You kill the things you love with your curse. You kill the things that are most precious to you.
Voices are getting darker and darker. Speaking of terrible things. Kill the things you love, the voices said.
The curse. And now the darkness is swallowing you both.
Hi there, Claire.
Look what happens to the things you love. thought she had light within her when she was alone. She is pure darkness.
I saw it right as saw the ropes right as I was walking out.
The curse cannot be marked. They've set you trials to distract you. They've set you up, and now they're going to watch you.
They've set you
These
up
trials mean nothing.
to distract you. Now they're gonna watch you.
Until they take you closer to Dillian. Dillian, you're letting this get in the way. What if they are just to tire you out, to make you weak before the battle?
She's doubting everything.
You couldn't see the darkness within you.
Message coming in. Patching it through.
Thank you, Claire. I couldn't get to the mask up there to even look at it.
Message coming in.
Traveled through.
Patching it through.
Tyler, thank you as well. Thank you for the host.
Strangled him.
Oh, well, there's a little footbridge we can push down.
Do you remember the way he looked? Dillian saved her.
You owe your life to Dillian.
You owe everything to him.
Oh, well. Hey, Manny, speaking of, I think we're gonna need to be.
Do you remember what love feels
That's,
like?
dude, it's quite a game.
Overcome with grief, the gods send Hermod to ride to Hell and ask Hela to let Balder return home. All the gods are weeping, he says. Are they? Asks Hela. We shall see if he is truly missed. If everything in the world will weep for him, he shall go back to the gods. But if even one thing refuses, Balder stays with me. The gods send messengers everywhere. Weep for Balder. Weep him out of Hell. And everything wept. Men, beasts, earth, stone, trees, metal, everything. Except for a giantess they find in a cave. Balder was never my friend, she says. Let Hel keep what she has. The Northmen say that the giantess must have been Loki in disguise.
Yeah, there it is.
Do you even remember? His love is gone.
I guess we're pushing these 2 platforms down to the center rather than 1. Because we'll travel between worlds at some point. And we'll need to have the other in place. Be sooner than later.
He's the reason she keeps fighting.
Out here. Wonder if the door on the other side will be open now?
Remember, Dillian? What do you remember? Do you remember the sound of his voice?
Did I try it from this? I can open it from this side. I didn't think to open it from this side. Okay. Ragnarok, there you go.
Do you remember the way he touched you?
Now, I'm gonna peek, but there are just two. Try this. All the way through.
She should have listened. Why didn't she listen? She thought she could do
Now we can get around to the other side, and the gate is open. See it coming together. And it's based, when there's so much existing mythology in this game, that a lot of it should sound familiar.
Your curse has claimed Dillian. Poor Dillian. He didn't know. He was kind.
You are guilty.
Was it worth it? He saved you. He saved you. He loves you. You What if this is pointless? What are you doing? Why did you think you could make this work? You keep seeing runes. You see runes everywhere. Everywhere. But what if they're not real? What if they don't actually make sense? What if they're a trick? The gods were lying.
Try to restart
Think
this one.
it makes sense, but really the gods are playing with you.
Just
It makes
noted.
sense in your mind, but it doesn't make sense in the real world. The gods are linked, but it doesn't mean anything. You can't read this language. You don't understand. Zinbel was right.
The Northmen tell how the gods punished Loki for Baldur's death. They captured him and took him to a cave.
Oh, quicker.
They fetched his two sons and turned one into a wolf, and he ripped his brother apart.
Used Loki's own son's entrails to tie him down, and turned these bonds to iron, and dangled a poisonous serpent over his face, so that its venom would drip onto him. Each time the venom drips onto Loki's face, he writhes in agony. The Northmen say that is the cause of earthquakes. A reminder, perhaps, that if even gods must accept death, then so must we.
He's the reason she keeps fighting.
Okay.
Message coming in. Patching it through.
KG, welcome. Thank you for the host. Maybe in the Dark World that looks different. It looks different, all right. Oh, okay. Only on
He was kind.
the light side that we may be able to do this. Oh, 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 oh! It was there.
What if they're all about wasting your time? Just delay. Dillian undoes like anything.
Crimson, why there's a mirror face?
What does she think she's doing? You're special. She thinks she can. They mean
I think we're meant to ask that question.
special. Everything. The gods are just. Messing with her, it wouldn't be the first time.
Dillion never much cared for the underworld, and looked dimly upon the druids, like her father, Zinbel. I guess he took after his father, a chieftain who believed nothing he couldn't see.
My first death in the game was just like that one. That was not my first. But my first was exactly like
He
that.
was still alive at Dillion's day. He doesn't deserve to be dead. Does that make you feel?
Not cool. Senua. Be confident, Senua.
Dillion!
Dillion never much cared for the underworld, and looked dimly upon the druids, like her father, Zinbel.
You can do it.
I guess he took after his father, a chieftain who believed nothing he couldn't see, and he happened to be blind. She felt safe in Dillion's arms, had to see the world through his eyes. Slowly, the darkness that had bound her so tightly began to unravel. You're going to fall, careful.
No, she's not. She's not going to fall. She's strong. She's steady. She can do it. You can do it, Senua. There he is.
Go to him.
That's it.
Quicker.
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 Be very, very careful.
You've come this far. Don't let him slip away.
It's a narrow bridge. And there's a long way to fall. No! Where's he gone?
It's your fault. He's disappeared. You've lost him to the sea. He's gone. You've lost him to He's gone to the water. He's drowned.
Senua,
Sounds like you've been snacking on some of the local mushrooms.
your father cannot understand your darkness. He cannot see through your eyes. No one can. My own father was born blind. Doesn't have the faintest idea of what the night looks like. The word dark to him means as little as the word light. So someone is afraid of the dark. Should we fix them by taking away their sight? Would you give up the beautiful world that you, and only you, can see just to be rid of your nightmares? Or is this the price you pay for the gift you have? A gift that makes you so special in my eyes. Just another part of the person I know.
I left for the wilds to protect you from my darkness. Because I love you. But it made it worse. I'm so sorry.
You've done it. You did it. The warrior trials. You need that sword. Go get the sword. You did it for the sword. You have to get the sword.
With grammar reforged, you will have Odin's blessing to walk, a goddess, into the halls of Helheim and challenge Hela as an equal.
So Dillion was helping me. And the sword will lead me to him. Like when we first met.
When I approach the tree, I'm gonna take our first break there before taking the sword. End up in combat when we draw the sword. Either way, we're gonna take a break. Rhetorical question. We haven't seen any combat yet today. And I'm sweating just like I was yesterday. Drawn in, mesmerized, tense. So stay tuned. Maybe get up and stretch your legs. Grab a drink. And get the dog some food. Stay tuned. I'll be back. And we'll go draw the sword. Wait a second. What's that, Manny? I don't know. I don't know what you're suggesting. You're suggesting I not break yet? We'll see after the break. Yeah, unless you think it's a terrible time to break. Speak now or forever. Forever hold your peace. Go up a song or two here. Only be about 7 minutes or so. I'll see you back here.